Now, all right, guys. So, what we're going to do is, I don't like the fractions. I'm going to get rid of the fractions outright. So I'm going to multiply this by four. Sorry, common denominator 12, is it? 12 be the lowest common denominator. I'm going to multiply both sides by 12. And multiplying by 12, I'm going to get 66. I'm going to get 12z. 2 over 3 multiplied by 12 is 8, I think. 8y. And 12 multiplied by a quarter is 3x. Okay, everybody there? Okay, so I've now effectively eliminated this equation. It's gone. And now I have this one here instead. Okay, I'm going to choose the letter to get rid of. The letter, I suppose the letter I'm going to get rid of is x. Why is x the easiest one? See the 3x and the 3x here? I think x would be a much easier way to do this than doing z. So I'm going to be lazy here. And I'm going to get equation A. And I'm going to multiply this by minus. So I'm going to get minus 3x minus 4y minus z is minus 1. Then I'm going to get 4y plus 11z is 65. Is that okay? 4y plus 11z is 65. Now, the next thing I'm going to do after that then is I'm going to use equations A and B. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply equation B by minus 3. And that should set up the next part of the question. So multiply this one by minus 3. I get minus 3x plus 15y plus 9z equals, what's it do? Minus 3, wasn't it? So plus 12. Add downwards. I get 19y plus 11z equals 13. Oh, that's convenient. Look at that. That's really convenient. See the two equations, they both have 11z in them. So I'm going to multiply this one by minus 4y minus 11z equals minus 65. And what do we get now? What's that? 15y, is it? I think I might have made a mistake on this already. Because the answer is meant to be minus 3. So let's have a quick look, see what I wanted to see. Sorry, guys. This one here. Sorry, gents. Wasn't 11z. It was 10z. So that's the type of mistake. Sure, I made it myself. I'm on 8 out of 10 after that mistake. Even if everything else is perfect. Okay? So that'd be 13. Now I'm looking at both these and going, looks like 110 for both, doesn't it? So I'm going to multiply this equation by 11 and this equation by minus 10 and then see what happens. So what's 11 times 19? You're going to go for 209y plus 110z equals 143. And then on the other side, I'm going to go for minus 40y. I'm going to go for minus 110z. And geez, minus 650. That's not nice. Okay, probably going to need my calculator for this. 209 take away 40 is 169y. And I think this here is going to be, I think it's going to be 487 minus 487. Is it minus 507, is it? Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. You're right, 507. And what happens when 507 gets divided by 169? Y equals minus 3. And that's correct. Y is minus 3. Bring it back up and sub it in. So we get minus 12 plus 11z is 65. Bring the 12 over the other side, and what do we get? 11z is 77. This implies that the z value is, we'd hope, 7. Is that right? Okay, and then after that, we now have to find the x value, don't we? Yeah, I'll just use the actually. Which equation is easier? I think B, because x is already on its own. So I'm going to use equation B here. I'm going to say x minus 5 times, what's y again? Minus 3, and what's z? 7. And we're going to get, that's going to be 15, take away 21, which is minus 6. And bring the minus 6 out to your side. And this implies x equals 2. So x equals 2, y equals minus 3, and z equals 7. Now, we rehearsed this before the tests. It's an inequality. It has a letter on the bottom. So what's the technique? We just have this technique learned off by heart. What's the technique? Anybody remember? What's the technique? You get the square of the denominator and you multiply both sides by it. Like so. We're okay with that? Okay. What cancels? That and that. And you multiply that out. When you multiply x plus 3 by another x plus 3, you get x squared plus 6x plus 9. That's an x plus 3 by another x plus 3. And on the other side, we get 2x multiplied by x is 2x squared. 2x multiplied by 3, 6x. 10 multiplied by x, 10x. 10 multiplied by 3, 30. Okay, what's next on my list then? Form a quadratic. What's 2x squared? Take away x squared. X squared. 6x is on both sides, isn't it? Cancels. What's that leave behind? 10x. And then 30 take away 9. 21. Okay. Now, some of you are still getting this wrong, despite not drawing the graph. So, here's my graph. What shape of function is it? It's a U-shaper. I don't know where to put it, do I? So I had to figure out where do I put it. To figure out where I put it, I solve it. So it's going to be x plus 3 and x plus 7 equals 0. Solve it. You're going to get x equals minus 3 and x equals minus 7. As it turns out, pretty much nearly set up like that already. There you go. That'll be minus 3 and that one will be minus 7. What's the next thing I'm going to look at? What's the next thing I'm looking at? Greater than, what does that mean? Above or below? Above or below? Above. So what's my two answers then? All the numbers to the left of minus 7, what's that? X less than or equal to? All the numbers to the right of 3? X greater than or equal to? I got 9 out of 10 for that. Can anybody tell me where it happened to my 10 out of 10? Read the fine print. It's not allowed to be equal to minus 3. So because it's not allowed to be equal to minus 3, that means I have to get rid of the equal sign. And you're done. Okay. Solve this equation. You're going, y equals 3 to the power of x. Excellent. 3 to the power 2x plus 1 is the same thing as 3 to the power 2x multiplied by 3. Agreed? Now, why is 3 to the power 2x the same as? 3 to the power 2x is actually the same thing as 3 to the power of x squared. Agreed? What do I say replace 3 to the power 2x with, or 3 to the power of x? That's y squared, isn't it? So now it's 3 times y squared. So what do I change the first part into? 3y squared. Second part, 28y. Third part, 9 equal to 0. All good? Use the reference number 3 times 9 is 27. And what happens when you do 27? Minus 1 and minus 27. So we go 3y squared minus 1y minus 27y plus 9. Factorize y into 3y minus 1 minus 3 into, oh sorry, not minus 3, minus 9 into 3y minus 1. What you get then? Y minus 9 and 3y minus 1 equals 0. And somebody solved that, didn't you? You got y equals 9 and y equals a third. Reread the question. You're solving for x, you're not solving for y. So what's the gig now? So then 3 to the power of x equals 9. 3 to the power of x equals 3 squared. This implies x must equal 2. And this part here, 3 to the power of x equals a third. What is a third? 3 to the power minus 1 implies x equals. You could also do it with logs if you wanted. Ready? Okay. Have an idea. Okay. Let's all agree to just turn it upside down at the beginning. Which part do I turn upside down? Anyone know which part I turn upside down? Turn the second fraction upside down. I'm going to get 5x plus 4 on the bottom. Is that okay? And on top, we're going to get 9x4 plus 60x cubed minus 21 x squared, right? So I've turned it upside down. Now, factorize everything in sight. How do I factorize the first one? Difference of 2. So 5x plus 4 and 5x minus 4. On the bottom, if you were to factorize that quadratic, you'll get 3x minus 1 and x plus 7. Now, here's the hard part. See this whole thing? What do they all have in common? A lot of x's. What can I take out of it? I'll take out 3x squared, and then what's left over? What's left over? Oh. That's actually the same thing as this one here, wasn't it? Which means if I factorize it, it's exactly the same thing. And there's actually no need to factorize it because they're just going to cancel. Anyways, and the 3x squared is here, isn't it? What else cancels? And, yeah. The amount of people that made it here, and then for some reason you wrote this. Yeah, it's a tough one. So it's actually 3x squared multiplied by 5x minus 4. If you choose to multiply that out, that's okay. That also works. So what would that be? 15x cubed minus 12x squared. Fourth method, which is the most common method, was you're given two factors. Okay? You're given two factors. In the same way, lads, would you all agree that 2 and 3 are factors of 24? You all agree with that? Given that 2 and 3 are factors of 24, would you agree with that statement? What happens if I multiply 2 by 3? Does 6 still divide into 24? We're going to use that concept to do this question. What we're first going to do is we're going to multiply the two of these by each other. And we're going to get 2x squared. Some is just divided in by one of them. And it made it really hard because you're not using all your information. So I'm going to use x by x, 2x squared. X by minus 1 is minus 1x. Minus 2 by that is what's it? Minus 4x. And then minus 2 by 2 is plus 2. Then we're going to get what is it? 2x squared minus 5x plus 2. Agreed? Now, this has to divide in equally into what? Has to divide in equally to that, correct? Now, here's what we're looking at. And most of you are pretty smart about it. Some of you are really smart about this. Some of you is compared 2 to 6. What did you figure out straight away? Has to be a plus 3. Fair play to you. right? And some is also figured out that what happens when you divide, what's it, 2, you have to divide ax squared by 2. Who did it this way, actually? Was it Al? Did you do it this way? Huh? It wasn't you. Oh, all right. I might be actually taking two different methods here, which is probably an issue. All right. All right, guys. So, how many times would ax cubed? How many times can ax cubed be divided by 2x squared? Of interest. What would be the answer? Ax over 2? Okay. If you want, you can do it this way. I'm going to show you 3 different ways of doing this question. Okay? And we used to say that it was plus a letter that we don't know, didn't we? What's the letter we didn't know? M. Okay? So, what would be my next step here? Multiply the top by the side and do identities. Okay? And that will work out your answer. Okay? Now, I have to say, this is not the easiest method for doing this. Okay? This would be I consider this a reasonably tough method for doing this question. I would have done the simultaneous. Now, multiply, a lot of people went down this route, so I'm just explaining it still works, but it's just not the best route. So what's ax over 2 by 2x squared? Anybody? It's going to be ax cubed. What's ax over 2 by 5? Anybody? 5ax squared all over 2. What's ax over 2 by 2? Just ax. Now next part, m by that, 2mx squared m by 5 minus 5mx and m by 2, 2m. Everybody see that? And what we're claiming is that that has to equal all of this. Ax cubed plus x squared plus bx plus 6. You can see this is long and drawn out, isn't it? So what cancels? They're the same, aren't they? What do we know about 2m? 2m is the same as. So what does that mean about m? M is 3. So we already know that that has to be 3. The only advantage of this way is you get the answer for the next parts in this part as well. Now, what else do I have to do now? Anywhere I see an m converted to 3. So what can I convert minus 15mx into? Convert that into minus 15x. What to convert 2mx squared into? 2 times 3? 6x squared, yeah? Now, let's compare the... we have to find out what a and b are. So, I suppose what we should do is we should find out what... do you see the x squareds? Ever see the x squares? I'm going to underline them in red. Or sorry, not red, purple. See that one there? That one there? And that one there. What can I write down now? 5ax squared over 2 plus 6x squared must equal 1x squared, yeah? Can I get rid of the x squareds? Yeah or nay? Why? Why? Everything has an x squared in it. So that means it isn't relevant to them equaling each other. What can I do now? Bring the 1 to the other side, bring that to the other side, and we get 5a over 2 equals what? 6 take away 1, 5. 2 times 5, 10. 10a divided by 2. A equals 2. Is that right? A equals 2. And lads, what's 2 divided by 2? 1. So the answer to that is simply x plus, that's x plus 3. Now I have to find the value of b, don't I? So what's the value of b? Which one am I going to work with now? I haven't worked with the x's yet. See the x's? So I'm going to have ax minus 15x is bx. And we know that a is what? 2x minus 15x is bx. The x's don't matter, do they? So b is minus 13. And if you go to part 2 of this question, it goes, hence or otherwise find the third factor. Well, we already know it's x plus 3. Now, on to the more conventional way of doing this that most people did. And you'll see that this is a recurrent theme in this test. What does a factor mean? Using the factor term. It means you know a root. What are the two roots we know? So this is the second method now. We know that the first root is x equals 2. We know the second root is what? So we said a half, didn't they? See those two there? They're two roots of the equation. What can I do with them now? Sub them in. A times 2 cubed plus 2 squared. B times 2 plus 6. And what does a root do to an equation? What does it do? It causes it to be equal to 0. And when you multiply this out, you're going to get 8a. What's it? 8a plus? You're going to get 8a plus 2b equals. You bring it all over to your side and you do get minus 10, yeah. And what about the other one then? It's going to be a times a half cubed plus a half squared plus b times a half plus 6 equals 0. Now what, guys? Happens here. What's a half cubed? Huh? 1 over 8. And that'll be in turn a over 8, won't it? And that's a quarter. And that's a half. And that's 6. Give it a common denominator. I say multiply both sides by you multiply both sides by 8, you get rid of everything, yeah? No answer. And you'll get a plus 4b equals minus 50. You see the two simultaneous equations now? See the two of them? Solve them, and guess what you find out? A is 2 and b is minus 13. Is that okay with you guys? So you can do it that way as well. That was much quicker. And if you did it that way, do part 3, you'd have to modify the equation. You have to turn that into 2. You have to turn that into minus 13. And how do you find the third? How do you find the third factor? Then how do you do that? Just do long division. You multiply the two of them together. We already did that today. And you long divide it into this. And long story short, you're going to find out it's x plus